This type of wholesale real estate needs to be stopped. What's up YouTube, Biz Matthew here. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about different bad practices that a lot of wholesalers do that gives the whole industry a bad rep. Now, I'm talking about how wholesalers try to take advantage of people that may not understand something. They don't fully disclose certain situations that need to be disclosed to the seller in order for them to make a responsible decision, and just the way they market sometimes that can be considered too much at times. And also, I'm going to talk about other things that are getting out of hand in the wholesale real estate, because unfortunately, because of these bad apples in the industry, we have way more regulation requirements in this industry that's stopping a lot of beginners from getting their first deal or even getting into this industry because they're hearing of all these things. But if there are any beginners out there, do not let a requirement, a law, a license requirement stop you from getting into this industry. If you want to get into real estate and you feel that wholesaling is the best route for you to take, try it, do it. Like if your city or state requires you to get a license, just do that, because I still think it's one of the best ways to learn about real estate investing and also take you to the next level, whether you want to hold rentals or start flipping properties. So today I'm going to read an article. I'm going to go over it with you all and talk about how this wholesaler could have approached this deal or this situation with the seller a little bit differently. And also, I'm going to talk about how I do feel like some of these regulations are getting out of hand, like these requirements, because it's an overreaction. And I do understand, because like if there's a little bit too many of these cases where sellers are being taken advantage of, or they can't get out of a contract for whatever reason, and they have a stronghold on them by a wholesaler, I guess a few of them warrants enough regulation for passing laws and requiring people to hold their license. But I still think that we're still not at that level where it needs to be nationwide. But that's why you see individual states and cities pass their own laws. But before we go on, be sure to like this video, comment down below your thoughts on this industry as a whole. Do you think it's getting out of hand with the wholesalers? Do you think it's getting out of hand with different laws that are getting passed on different city and state governments? Do you think they're overreacting a little bit too much? Let me know down below. All right, so right here we have an article from Los Angeles. So I haven't really heard much laws about wholesaling or requiring licensing in California. So this is going to be an interesting article. But apparently there's this duplex owner and they had an issue with a wholesaler. So it says SoCal man's duplex nightmare serves as warning about predatory investors. I hate that they use this word to describe like wholesalers, but I guess the way they act can be described as predatory, or like trying to take advantage and stronghold a seller. So this person, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, but it's Wigberto. Oh, that wasn't that bad. Wigberto Astacio. Oh, that wasn't bad at all. Thought buying a duplex would be his dream, but now he is fighting to keep it. I've been trying to keep up with the mortgage and everything else, he said. He said it started when he had issues with his front tenant. Then after being away for a few weeks for a medical emergency, squatters moved in. He felt desperate. He then received a mail from a wholesaler who promised to buy his property as is for cash. One of them actually came to me and told me exactly what I wanted to hear. They told me they would help me with the mortgage program. They would help me legally, that they would also be taking care of the place, preventing squatters from coming in, and promised me the world. He signed the contract, but claims the wholesaler didn't contact him for weeks, and there were more and more bills. Then in early May, Estacio said that the wholesaler went to the registrar office and added itself to the title. So let's pause real quick. So this guy is in a bad situation with his duplex. He's a tire landlord. He thought he could manage and be a landlord and own properties, but maybe the area was just bad, and he didn't anticipate how strict he would have to be in that area. And now it's running loose. And so wholesaler approached him, got a mail or a phone call or whatever, and the postcard, and then they signed some sort of contract. It seems like it was kind of a sub too, because he said that the wholesaler said that they would be paying his bills for some reason. So I don't know if it was something like that, a sub two deal. That's what it kind of sounds like. But let's continue on reading. And then the wholesaler added themselves to the title. So they definitely either kept the owner as an owner still and added themselves too so they can be joint, or put themselves as the owner and that's it. We'll see. That's when they come in and they said, no, we're entitled to the property. You already signed it away, and they didn't offer me any help. Okay? They made promises about bringing in resources financially, legally, that they never lived up to. So I really don't know what they spent money on. When it comes to wholesalers, some consumer experts have simple advice. Don't use them. I don't know about that. I think you can use wholesalers if you don't want to deal with a property. I know investors, smart individuals that sell their properties to wholesalers because they don't want to deal with the headache of renovating or putting it on the market, or for whatever reason, they sell it to wholesalers. But yeah, I can understand consumers may not be as knowledgeable, and so they don't know if they're getting an okay deal. But still, I think it's in certain circumstances, it's okay to use a wholesaler. There are very few credible wholesalers around. I think there's more credible wholesalers than there are non-credible wholesalers. But this is said the Consumer Federation of America. Okay. I would be wary about doing business with them. It is too complicated for most people to deal with. I would simply avoid them. Of course, an agent probably doesn't like them. The contract was very thorough. It was very clear. He just did not understand. Speaking with the wholesaler, saying that they had great conversation and believes they can resolve this issues as both parties want to come to an amicable resolution. Okay, so I still don't quite understand. It just seems like this guy got into this, he bought this property from this person and he didn't realize he sold it. Either that, or it was a sub two deal where he took over his payments and the wholesaler became the owner of the deed. So I'm confused, but either way, this homeowner was confused. And this is the wholesaling that I feel like needs to be stopped, where you don't disclose exactly what you're doing. That, hey, we're going to close on this date. Yes, you don't have to say, I am a wholesaler, I am wholesaling your property. But I think you need to be clear, like, hey, I am taking over your mortgage payments and I'm going to go on the deed. Why not say that? Or like, hey, what you're signing, you're actually signing me an assignment contract, or a contract that has this assignment clause, and you're assigning me the rights to this property, or you're selling me this property. Like, why couldn't the wholesaler say this? Why couldn't he say, you're selling me this property, you're giving me this property, point blank, period. And it just seems like discussions and the conversations weren't clear. And that's why I agree with some of the laws that are passed that says, hey, just have full disclosure. They, certain cities and states, they don't require a license, but they require full disclosure. And I kind of more agree with that. I feel like we need more disclosures. I know in the beginning, I was always like kind of scared, kind of worried, like, oh no, if they think I'm wholesaling, will they still go with me? A lot of times people will still go with you. You just have to be honest. And I would just phrase it like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I have buyers, I have investors, and they're going to be the one buying the property, not me. But this is the contract that we use in order to purchase the property. But let's continue reading on. They should be willing to give you a contract right up front and give you time to read it. That means not 10 minutes. Okay, that's understandable, leaving them a copy of the contract. That means several days, and be willing to discuss the contract. Also be willing to negotiate commissions. Estacio is now sending out a strong warning for those who may find themselves in a similar situation. I just want people to make sure you read your contracts. Don't rely on people's word just because they're wearing nice suits, have a nice car, have a big office, and they talk to you very politely to you. It means nothing. All right, you all, that was the article. Let me know your thoughts. I think that's what I want to see stop in wholesaling real estate. This lack of disclosure, this lack of not following through and not being clear with people, and just like being a charlatan, essentially. But I think most wholesalers, I think most of them that I come across, they're pretty like open. They may not directly say to the owner, hey, I'm a wholesaler, but if they sign a contract, usually they follow through for whatever reason. If the numbers were wrong, they'll tell the seller, hey, I was wrong about my numbers, we can't follow this. Or if they can't find a cash buyer, they'll come back to the seller and at least give them that conversation, like, hey, we have to cancel this, something came through, or something fell through, or whatever. But let me know your thoughts down below. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll talk to y'all later.